A couple of things we want to go over as we're starting to lay forms. I want to make certain that everybody understands that as we're laying our product down, we want to always make certain that this stud lines up and that this creates the vertical stud on the interior and the exterior of our wall so that we have attachment for later on. When they're offset, we literally would make it impossible for a subcontractor to align the sheetrock up or the exterior finish or whichever. If we have a stacked vertical joint like this, where these line up in several multiple rows like that, we actually would create an opportunity for shear or separation in our wall. With the way we've designed the Logix corner, it provides us with a 16-inch incremental change so that we don't have a vertical joint lining up at all. We've actually separated them so that we don't have to concern ourselves with that. So we always want the studs to line up and the vertical joints not to.
Place the first corner form by lining it up with the chalk line, interlock facing up. Continue by setting straight forms going in one direction around the perimeter. Typically, you will use all left-hand or all right-hand corners in a particular course. Zip tie the bottom course of forms together end to end. It will help keep them aligned and maintain the building dimensions. Once the entire first course is in place, install required rebar by snapping it into the webbing. Hold back rebar about 2 inches from window and door openings and overlap rebar according to specifications. Start the second course at the same corner as the first, but use the opposite type corner. If you used a left-hand form at the first course, use a right hand on the second. This will automatically stagger the joints properly to a 16-inch offset. Proceed in the same direction as the first course and continue this pattern on all subsequent courses. Make sure to seat every form firmly to the form below. The second and subsequent corners should be tied end to end to adjoining forms. Then, as in the first course, install necessary rebar as specified, but put it in the opposite notch of the web.
This is a product we call Form Lock. It comes in 12-foot lengths and it's used to keep our wall in perfect alignment. We use it in the second row and in the top row of each pour.
Once the second course is down and rebar placed, install Form Lock around the entire perimeter, overlapping lengths by about 8 inches. Line up the points of the form lock with the webs of the ICFs. Hold back the form lock from the corners a foot or so. The form lock holds the wall straight and you normally put it in the second and top course. The pattern starts over for every new story. Once the second course is completed, check for level and square. If you have to adjust anything, now's the time. Spot trim any high spots at the bottom of the first course using a pruning saw. Shim up any low spots with foam or wood shims. If you have to make adjustments, be sure to trim both sides of the form.
I've built this little mock-up to show you exactly what I'm talking about and how important having our footings within 1/4 of an inch really is. I've put a 3/4 inch shim underneath here to simulate a footing that's actually out of level. As a result, we have a wall that is rocking and tipping, and we actually have cracks that are growing and opening up to where we're not going to be able to build this project all the way to the top unless we fix it here at the bottom. I'm going to pull this shim out, and suddenly we're tight and we're correct again. Now we'll be able to continue on up with this Logix wall.
We're going to make sure our block is on the line.
Also make sure the forms are straightened to the chalk lines. You can tack the ICFs to the footing using foam adhesive to keep them in place. Continue stacking forms in this manner as you work your way up the wall. You'll also be installing window and door bucks as you go up. When you get to the top course, use adhesive foam to glue the top course down to prevent them from moving during the pour. Once you've finished stacking the Logix forms, you can check wall straightness by using pieces of wood placed in the corners with a string line running between them. Run another piece of wood between the wall and the string and adjust the turnbuckles on the alignment braces as necessary. You want the walls to be plumb or leaning slightly towards the brace. It is very important that they don't lean away from the brace. It is much easier and safer to push with the brace than to pull.
Let's review what we just learned. With Logix, we always begin in a corner. We go in one direction all the way around the perimeter, making sure that we start and stop in the same spot. If we have horizontal steel that needs to be placed, we place it as we install each course of Logix. We come back with the second row, coming back to our original corner. Make sure that we have a 16-inch offset by using that opposite corner. install the forms all the way around again. If horizontal steel is required, we install it. Next, we add our form lock. At that point, we shim or trim to make certain that we have it perfectly level. And once we have it perfectly level and on the chalk line, we take our foam adhesive and we tack the wall all the way around the perimeter. Next, we're going to talk about T-walls.